Welcome back, everybody. Episode number 4 rolling out here on Sojo. Very excited for this episode. Got to speak to Ladale Jackson and highly touted recruit coming out of Nevada. And Ladale has his own challenges, own kind of curveballs that come at him, along with his own recruiting, which it was kind of fun to hear about. But Ladale's definitely somebody that had the skill set to play at a high level and was definitely working there, but then, through adversity, found ways to find the best in it. And so we had some really good, humbling conversation of just, realizing what's coming at you in life, but accepting it and being positive about it and learning from it, and how sports is really just a great classroom for that aspect of learning from hard trials and hard things that you're going through. But depending on how you look at it, you find the good in it. And he's definitely happy where he's at now, coaching, enjoying life, and I couldn't have been any happier to talk to Ladale. So hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. Keep sending episode links, whatever it is, to everybody. Spread the word. Let's keep growing this more and more so we can keep getting more people onto this platform, so you guys can hear more experiences, more journeys, and hopefully some really good entertainment and insights that you guys are all picking up from this as much as I am. So thanks, and without further ado, here's Liddell. Welcome everybody back to another episode here at Sojo. Got an awesome guest on the podcast today, Ladale Jackson. Very excited to talk to Ladale here. Ladale definitely has a few different experiences that I'd like to share with you guys, get his insight and share his journey. So this will be good. So welcome to the show, Ladale.
What up, Coop? Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Ladale, I know you started kind of your career out there over in Nevada. Now you're still doing things over here in Utah, but give me the intro. What really got you started in sport? What was your first sport? What was your first love? Did you find it? Did someone help you find it? Like, give us a little bit of that, the starting piece.
Oh man, so originally I grew up in San Bernardino, California. We moved from there when I want to say like 8, 9 years old to Vegas. But I come from a family where sports, you're doing sports. There's no if, ands, or buts. Like once you're born, boy or girl, you're in the sport. Like all the boys in my family, we played football or ran track. Those were your two options, or baseball. All the girls in the family, they played softball, track, and cheerleading. So those were your three options that you had to do. There was no just hanging out. So I was introduced at a very, very young age for sure.
Yeah.
My mom ran track in high school. She had a scholarship to ASU, but she popped me out, so that went away. I feel bad. That's my fault, but it is what it is. My dad, was an all-state running back out there at Cajon. They both went to Cajon High School in San Bernardino. So I got some athletic genes in me for sure. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
so yeah, no, yeah. So I got introduced at a really, really young age. I think I first started playing when I was like technically I was like 6 years old
Yeah.
when they first put the pads on me, and
Nice.
ever since then I just kept rolling with it because, like I said, we didn't have a choice. Like there'd be times where I ask my mom like, "Hey, do I gotta play sports this year?" Because she always tells me,
Yeah.
"If you don't ever want to do anything, just let me know." It's the times I do ask her, she'll be like, "Well, I only said that because I wanted your opinion. You're still gonna do it regardless." I was like, "All right, that's cool, I guess." But yeah, that's how I really got introduced into it for sure.
So definitely something kind of, I mean, forced on you. Obviously, you've turned into someone that enjoys the sports world, but it was there. It was put to you at a young age.
Right.
So your parents have a background in sports and everything that they did. So as far as transitioning, learning sports, was that a big asset, having your parents have such a strong background themselves in the sporting world?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. From all the way back from my grandpa to my uncles to my parents, like everyone did something, and they all had a big part of teaching me and helping me like understand the sports and everything. Like hell, I understood football before I even stepped on the field because I would watch it so much, or like go to like my grandpa's practices when he coached teams and things like that, and just observed and understood things, and he would let me know what was going on. But I mean, growing up out there, you kind of had to because San Bernardino obviously is not the best area in California.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why it was kind of forced upon us because they would rather us be doing something valuable with our time instead of going out getting into who knows what kind of trouble we could have gotten
Yeah.
into if we were just hanging out with friends. Because, like I said, there was never really anything good out there for you to do besides be a part of some type of sport team out there.
Yeah. No, I think you bring up a good point there with sports, keeping you out of trouble and whatnot. And would you say, because I mean, it's cool to hear you get to go to, your grandpa's practices while he was coaching and different things like that. But would you say sports really helped you build those relationships with other family members?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, hell, there were cousins and uncles and aunts who I probably would never even known or met if it wasn't for going to like cheer competitions or baseball games and things like that. Because my family was very very supportive. Like when somebody was competing, everybody went to watch, no matter if you were close or not. Like you heard, oh, they're playing this weekend. Okay, we'll be there. Like when we moved to Vegas, my family would drive all the way from San Bernardino just to watch me play youth football on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then turn right back around and drive all the way back to California. Like that's how we rolled out there in our family. So for sure,
Yeah,
built a lot of strong relationships just because of athletics alone.
that's cool to hear. And you had so many. Sounds like you had an opportunity to play, a wide range of sports. So, in the end, what was it that kind of helped you hone in on, playing football? Obviously, putting on the pads, playing football. What was it that kind of helped you hone in on football, or were there any other sports that you did all the way up until college?
Oh yeah. So my mom always had us try a different sport every year to see
Oh,
what we liked and what we were good at and things like that. Because she didn't believe in just a one sport athlete. Hence why I preach that to the kids I coach to this day. Like I encourage people to go out and try multi sports because it's just better for you. Like you learn
yeah.
so many different skill sets from everything else. But yeah, I've done everything from football, track, basketball, soccer, baseball. Only thing I couldn't do is swim. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I can't swim to this day. I don't swim, so don't put me in the water. We good. Uh, nah, but yeah, like football and track were my two mains for sure. Like honestly, I think I prefer track over football, but football gave me more opportunity in the long run than track did. I say I went towards those two because I sucked at everything else. Like basketball, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't. My fault to my people, but I sucked at basketball. Soccer was cool, but that was too much running. I was like, I don't need to do all that. Uh, Baseball, I couldn't hit worth a damn. Like coach used to have to use me as a pitch runner because everybody knew when I got up the bat, it was gonna be an out because I wasn't gonna hit the ball. So no, but yeah, football and track they went pretty good hand in hand together. Like track obviously helped me a lot with football. Um, but yeah, those were my two mains for sure. And I started both of them at a very young age and just kept it going for years and years.
I think you bring up a good talking about being a multi-sport athlete and just the development of skills that you learn. I mean, you weren't good at basketball or baseball, but they still gave you something. Like you still took away things from not being good at the sport, but lessons learned, different coaching.
Oh, for sure. Especially coordination. Like my coordination was terrible until I tried those two sports and even though I wasn't good at it, it showed like it showed very good on the football field for me because even before then, my coordination on the football field was terrible.
Yeah.
But just doing those two sports alone, like you said, even though I wasn't good at them, I was able to pull something from it, and it translated into the sport that I was good at.
Oh, that's a good point that you brought up, and just seeing the development factors there. As far as it was, so I mean, you were in Cali, and then you went to Nevada, you started picking up your sports. How was, I mean, your parents sound like they were always kind of pushing sports on you. It sounds like it was probably a pretty competitive place as far as when you were playing sports and whatnot. So
Yeah.
when was it, or was it always just competitive, or were sports ever something that was kind of like it's fun, it's cool to do, but then it became more of like, hey, this is really competitive. I got to really be putting in extra work. I got to be, putting in the hours. Like when was that switch?
Shoot, man, that was probably switched when I was like 10. And I was like 10 because I have a little brother who's 5 years younger than me. And
Gotcha.
so um, our dads, both our dads actually, because we have different dads, and they stopped coming around when I was about 7. And then my little brother's dad stopped coming around when he was about 2 or 3. So it was really just me, him, and my mom's for the most part. But so she was always really tough nosed on us. Like, I mean, how she coached half our youth league teams that we played on. She was one of our coaches.
Very
And
cool.
so, yeah, I say for me, at around 10 is when she was like, we don't lose. We win in our family. So I don't believe
Yeah.
in losing. So you're gonna do this, and this to make sure we don't ever lose. And that's when I realized, oh damn. All right. All the fun is done now. It's time to get for real. So um but at the same time though, I'm happy she instilled that in me at an early age because I don't this might sound bad, but I don't believe in you should be rewarded for not putting in work. Like there are too many kids out there who put in a lot of work who don't get the same respect and rewards as the kids who don't put in any work. They just go out there and they just assume it's going to be handed to them. And at an early age, she instilled in me and my little brother both, like, nah, you're going to work for yours or you're not going to get it, pretty much. So that I am happy that she did do that to us at an early age because our attitudes and our demeanor towards the game probably could have been completely different if she didn't.
Yeah. So that makes sense. And did your brother, did he go and did he play any college athletics by chance?
Yeah, he went to Colorado. He ran track at Colorado. He was a long jumper out there.
Very cool. Cool.
He couldn't beat me in sprints, but that boy has bunnies. That boy can jump out the gym for sure.
Uh, Very cool. So he jumped. Sounds like you run. And so, what was your, as far as track goes, what was your specialties?
Mine was the 200 and 400, and I curse my mom to this day because we ran club track.
Mm,
Uh, I was uh, I was 10 when I first ran club track, and my brother was 5, and she made me run the 400, and I hated it so much. I don't think anybody likes the 400 really,
yeah.
and she told me for years and years, this is going to be your best race. This is going to be your best race. You're going to be good at it. And damn, she was right too. Because all through high school, that was my best race for sure. I was able to. So I won state in the four my junior year. I took second my sophomore and senior year. But I set a few records out there in Vegas. I mean, they just recently got broke by this young boy who I know, watched growing up from running track. Um, but yeah, 200 and 400, my two races. And my brother for sure was long jump and triple jump.
Gotcha. So, I mean, you talk about, those things your mom instilled upon you, from athletics, going out and doing the hard work. But you can also see how it paid off because you and your brother both had opportunities to be collegiate athletes, which is, I think, in and of itself could be a rare occurrence for a family to have one, but to have both of, you and your brother out there running collegiately, playing football for you is a really cool experience and really
Mm.
should be a proud moment for her, as a mother as well.
Oh yeah.
So from high school, running track, playing football, to getting to college. Ex- Tell us a little bit about the recruiting experience as far as being, running track, doing all that, going full time to football and getting into the collegiate world. Tell us a little bit about that aspect of the journey.
Oh man, recruiting was probably the best time of my high school career, boy. That was live. Recruiting was cool because I got to go to places that I never thought I'd ever go to before. Um, I think my best recruited trip, and I felt bad too to these coaches. I took my visit to Hawaii because I was like, I ain't never been to Hawaii, so why not go for a free weekend in Hawaii? And but in the back of my mind, I already knew I ain't going here. I don't like. I already don't like the water, so why would I want to live somewhere surrounded by water? So, but out at the same time, I was like, I mean, how many opportunities am I going to get to go to Hawaii though? So let's take a trip there.
Fair,
Uh,
fair.
no, recruiting was cool though because the way you get to interact with a lot of the coaches and talk to them and things like that, and how they tell you kind of their backstories and why they're wanting to recruit you, and they really pay a lot of attention to what you're doing on and off the field. And I hope a lot of these younger kids these days really understand that, like, the things we do off the field, they really bring up during your one-on-one meetings with them. Like, I had Coach Hill when he was at Utah, when he was recruiting me to be a DB. He straight up brought up some stuff that I said back on my Facebook in like 2010, 2009. I was like, oh damn.
Dang,
Like,
dang.
he said that, I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, coach. I was just dumb. I was young, I was just trying to fit in with the wrong crowd, so that's my fault. And
Yeah,
so I like no, like they really, if they want you at their school, they dig deep into getting to know who you are as a person. But on top of that, though, like nah, because like all the visits you take, like they show you obviously all the love in the world because they want you to come to their school.
hmm,
Um, they let my mom come on a few recruiting trips, which most of the time they don't, but they were able to find some money, extra money in the budget to fly her out and let her stay with me during a few. Um, but no, recruiting was it was fun, especially when you be sitting in class and you're in fifth period and you get all these letters sent to you in the classroom, and all the kids in the class are looking at you like, "Damn, who's this one from?" I'm like, "Hey, I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see what we got today." But now it was a real cool experience. And then most of my recruiters for football also came to all my track meets too. So that's what really put in my head like, okay, these are the schools that really want me, because I know especially Utah and Utah State were my top two when I was
yeah,
getting recruited. Colorado was cool, but they weren't as invested as the other two schools were. Because I
yeah.
mean, hell, Coach Hill didn't miss a single track meet my whole senior year. I think he came to every dual meet and invite, which was crazy.
Wow.
Him and Coach T both from Utah State. So that's when I
Wow.
was like, okay, these two. So I actually was supposed to go to Utah. I
Tell us a
originally,
story. Tell us a story.
I originally committed. So I remember, so I was like, it was like 9 o'clock at night one day. I was talking to my mom about it, and I was like, dang, I really like Coach Hill. Like I can tell that's gonna be my dude right there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I pick up the phone and I call Coach Hill to let him know, hey, I want to commit to Utah. 2 hours right before I called, a kid from California in the same position committed right before I did. And so I missed out on going to Utah. And then I was like, damn. So I was like, all right, at least I knew I had a backup plan. So then I called up Utah State, called Coach T, let him know I was going to commit to him. We were all good there. And then, like, it was like 4 or 5 days before signing day, Coach
yeah.
Hill gives me a call on the phone. Hey, that kid decommitted. What are the odds of you coming here? I was like, damn, I don't know if I can do that because it's so close to signing day. I don't want to show disloyalty like that. I mean, I've told these dudes it's been like 3 months now since I've been committed to Utah State. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, you've been committed for 3 months, and then like a week before signing day, you decommit and sign somewhere else. So I was like, hey, I appreciate it. I still got all the love for you, but I'm gonna have to stay over here and go to Logan. But yeah, I was originally I was gonna be a Ute and not an Aggie.
Dang. That's cr- that's crazy. I mean, I had the privilege of working with Coach Hill. Love Coach Hill. He's an amazing coach. Honestly, just amazing guy. And man, that would have been an experience for you. But I mean, in and of itself, you obviously went to Utah State,
Yeah.
and you got to experience some great things there too. So, I mean, you committed. You committed to your point. You told Utah off like, hey, I told these guys yes. Went to Utah State up in Logan. How was that? Was that like a culture shock going to Cache Valley of all places? Because I know if you haven't been to Cache Valley, people like you don't understand what Logan, very much a town revolves around the university is. So
Yeah, bro. Oh, bro. Logan is a true college town. I didn't know what a college town was until I went to Logan. Because going from Vegas to Logan, Utah, I remember when I first took my visit there, I was like, bro, where the hell are we going? Like, coach is driving us through the mountains. I don't see no civilization nowhere. We come out the little sardine canyon, and I see like
yep.
this town in the way. I'm like, all right, how much further we got? And he was like, oh, this is Logan. I looked at him. I looked at my. I was like, oh damn. This is different. All right, we in the country, I guess. It was a big culture shock. I mean, obviously going from Vegas to Utah in general, like
Hmm.
the religion, the people are different. I will say I enjoyed my move, hence why I'm still out here to this day. Because just the not even the culture, but the people are different. Like Vegas, there's too much stuff you got to worry about getting into out there. Like there's more bad than good from a young age all the way up to an older age. So getting out of Vegas for sure was my first and foremost thing when I told myself I'm gonna go to college. So, but yeah, I didn't ever think I would end up in Logan, Utah. Though I thought I would end up in a city somewhere else. No, but culturally different. I mean, obviously, not a lot of diversity in Logan, unless you're an athlete. That's where you're gonna find all the diversity is right there on campus. Uh, hell, you walk around Logan as an athlete, people, you walk around like you a damn NFL star or professional team star or something, because people all know you. Like I remember when I went to Walmart my first time out there, me and some teammates, and these random guys are calling us out by our first name, saying, "Hey, welcome," and stuff. I'm like, "Who the hell is this? Like, how do you know me, dude?" But they're just like those super fans who know all the recruits, the incoming guys coming in and stuff. And like in high school, it wasn't like that. Like it was just like, damn, like this is what life's gonna be like out here. But then it's a double edged sword being in a small place like Logan because you can do the smallest mishap and everybody in the town gonna know about it and they all gonna look at you in a weird way. I've had too many teammates get into some shit, so I gotta watch my mouth there.
Hey, you be you.
I had too many teammates get into some stuff, man, and it came out real quick. It was like Coach Anderson, Gary Anderson was our head coach at the time. Good man too. Hope he's doing well. Like he had to fight some demons these past few years, but I hope he's recovering well and things like that. But easily one of the best head coaches I ever played for my life. I wouldn't trade him for the world. Um, he always warned us, especially the minority kids on the team. We're in the fishbowl. Like everybody can see you, everybody notices you. So you gotta watch what you do, especially in a town like this. And those words have never been truer than any other coach I've ever spoken to playing for up there in Logan. But yeah, no, shout out to Coach Ado for always looking out for us, for sure, making sure we were always good and taken care of up there, knowing like we came from like Vegas, California, Texas, Florida, all those guys. Like, yeah, it was cool of him to do that stuff for us.
Yeah. No, that's definitely cool to hear. Definitely never had the opportunity to really have a conversation one on one with Coach Anderson, but from my conversations with Coach Hill, because Coach Anderson was even down there helping him a couple seasons, like he seems like a very stalwart guy. Some of the professors I've even had have really good ties and relationships still to this day with Coach Anderson. I know he's actually, I believe this year he's there helping with BYU, a few
Yeah,
things over there.
yeah.
So very cool to see. So college life, obviously a little different. You already kind of touched on that. So
So,
how was ball? How was college football for you? What was it like?
oh, bro, man. First of all, I didn't realize that different levels of elevation play a big part in conditioning. So my first practice, it was we started. So the freshmen, if you didn't come in early, if you didn't graduate early, obviously you come when fall camp's about to start. So I'm coming straight out of track season, so I'm like, oh, I ain't gonna be worried about not being in shape and stuff. Boy, you go 3,000 feet higher than what you used to. I was out there dying after the warm ups. After warm ups, I'm over there like, God damn, why is it so hard to breathe right now? I'm in good shape. And all the other guys are looking at me laughing like, yeah, get used to it, buddy. I'm like, yeah, apparently. Uh nah, college it was fun though. Like that nothing will ever be better than a locker room. That locker room is the greatest thing ever because like people who don't know college sport, well, who think they know college sports and think they know all the inside stuff, would never truly know what really goes on behind closed doors.
Yep.
Besides the guys in that building, because there's a lot of hearsay and stuff like that, especially these days with social media. But at the end of the day, that locker room is what really matters. And to me, that was the highlight of college. Practices were cool. Obviously, game days were amazing. I love game days, especially when we were selling out stadiums and stuff. Like, what year was it? It was my sophomore year when we beat Utah in Logan, and that place was completely sold out, over capacity. We had thousands of fans trying to sit on top of the grass hill, trying to watch the game and things like that. And it was
Yeah.
just like going from a high school to where you only get like so many kids because sports in Vegas wasn't really a big thing. Like, yeah, kids went to the games and stuff, but it wasn't like huge. Like, oh yeah, Friday night, let's go to the game. Like, it wasn't like that. So going from that to a college town where everybody wanted to go to the games and watch, it was like, oh damn, like people really coming out here to watch. It's like 20 degrees out here, and people out here in the damn stands still watching. Like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. But no, it was good. Like very different learning experience. Obviously, the game was faster than high school for
Mm.
sure. I found that out my first rep in 101s against the receivers. I got torched, and it has sometimes it can mess with you mentally because it had me thinking like, damn, do I just suck? Like, what's going on? But
Yeah.
no, when you get to that level, everybody's good. Everybody's there for a reason. Like they all got recruited like you did. So it's not like you're gonna come out here and be the top dude like that. Um, no, it was besides the playing stuff though, like learning. I've learned so much in the game because Dave Aranda, he's the head coach for Baylor right now.
Yep.
He
Yep.
was also LSU's DC the past few years ago. He was my DC when I was there, and that man knows football for damn sure. Like he is smart, and he taught us so much about the game and how to play it and things like that, scheme and how to coach up the guys and stuff. So like everything I do and with how I coach is what he taught me. So
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff, how I teach it and how I interact with the kids and stuff, is the same way he interacted and taught us as college kids. And him and Gary both actually, those two work hand in hand together so well because they were true player first coaches. They always made sure they got to know us, they understood us, they knew what we needed and how to approach us. We all come from different backgrounds, you know? And so you always got to approach you got to approach me different than a kid from like Fort Worth, Texas, or from Miami, Florida. Like we're all
Mm.
different. We all come from different areas. So, and they were really good at doing that, which is why I think we had so much success those few years that those two guys were on staff together. Because it's not ironic that as soon as Aranda and Gary left, we went from a 12-2 record to I think we went like 8-4. Like we just started slowly declining, and it kind of showed between. You know how they always say it starts from the top down. Like once the head man left and we got a new head coach, the whole demeanor of the program kind of started going down with the guys in the locker room, and it was just rough. Which is another reason why I transferred my senior year to Weber. to play for Coach Hill, even though Weber was a struggling program at that time. I was
Hmm.
like, hey, I know this man. I wanted to play for him before in the past. I finally get the opportunity to play for him. It's kind of funny how that worked full circle, actually.
Yeah, that
It's
is funny.
it was I even though we didn't have a good year that year at Weber, it was probably more fun that I had the previous 2 years that I played for the new head coach at Utah State. And so I
Yeah,
wouldn't trade that for anything. But no, college was it was a good experience for sure. Taught me a lot. Um, taught me a lot actually. I can't even explain how much it's taught me because I ain't gonna
yeah,
lie, I was a shit. Like I was a shit as a kid growing up. Like you couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I was just big bad. Like I was the guy. I didn't have to go to class or none of that. I'm just here to play
hmm,
football. Like, nah, they taught me like get your shit together or I'll send you home. And you don't want to go home. We all know that. And I was
yeah.
like, all right, this man ain't playing because it was actually a funny story. We had one dude on the team. His name was Vita. He didn't think Coach Anderson was serious when he told me I will take your ass home on a train tonight. He told Coach A pretty much to F off. And I was like, and we were all like, what? Very next day we realized, hey, where did that? They were like, oh, he got sent home. We were like, wait, what? We were like, yeah, Coach A put him on a train. I was like, wait, no, stop playing. He was like, no, like legit. Coach A bought him a train ticket, put him on the train, and sent him home that day, that night. I was like, damn. Once I realized that, I was like, okay, this man ain't playing. Like I gotta get my shit together. Otherwise, I'm gonna be going home back to Vegas, and I don't need to go back home to my mom. Like, yeah, let's not do that. But
Hmm.
no, good dudes though. Really turned us into men. That's a staff that you can say that turned the program from a lot of bunch of young boys into men for sure.
Yeah. So you finished up your career there. Would you say, as far as that goes, that was kind of your last or senior year at Weber? Did you try to go to the draft or anything, or is that kind of like, hey, I'm good, like my football days are done? Like, was that it?
So my sophomore year actually at Utah State is it my sophomore year? Technically, my redshirt freshman year. It's my sophomore year in school. Um, so I redshirted my freshman year. Obviously, I was small, young, had to learn, so I had to develop. Um, Made good strides though, because at our exit meetings after my freshman year, my redshirt year, even Coach Anderson was like, "Hey, when the headman says I have a lot of potential and he expects good things from me, and he expects you to be on the field that following year, that's an eye opener." I was like, "Oh, damn, I'm doing that good. All right, cool." So sophomore year comes, redshirt freshman year technically. I worked my way up from being on the scout team to number two corner spot behind technically number three because I was behind two dudes. They both went to the league too. Nevin Lawson played a few years for Jacksonville, and Will Davis played a few years for Detroit and Miami. Um, I sat behind those two, which obviously is self-explanatory because they were just that good. Uh, I would say I got some play time my sophomore year. Halfway through the season, during a Monday indoor walkthrough practice, I tore my knee. It was just one of those freak accidents where I stepped funny and I heard it pop and it was done. And so had my knee surgery a few weeks later, rehabbed and all that. My recovery wasn't good because I guess doctors told me my scar tissue buildup was so faster than normal that it built up so fast in my joints that I couldn't even fully extend my leg. So my leg was stuck at like a like an 80-45 degree, like an 80-70 degree angle. And so
Ooh.
I had to walk with like a bent leg and a limp for like a year. And I had three surgeries done on it because it kept building up so fast. So I kept getting it scoped over and over and over again to try to get it so we can get my full extension. After four surgeries, it finally came through. Finally. But that put me so far behind mentally, I was kind of already checked out. Like, damn, like this just ain't for me. So that's when I kind of spent my junior year, well, the rest of my sophomore year and junior year learning, just more learning the game more than anything. Like learning under Aranda and Gary and those guys, and just studying, seeing how I can soak in this info and teach it to someone else later in the future over rather than playing. Like obviously I still practiced, I still competed and stuff, but mentally I was more like, let me get through my years, let me finish school, and let me just take what I learned to the future. And but yeah, no, because it was crazy too. Because partway through that year, before I tore my knee, I actually was able to talk to a few scouts. I talked to Atlanta and Tampa Bay because they were there to see our running back, Kerwin Williams, who also went to the league after he graduated as a running back. But because I came in, I was probably, I ain't gonna say probably, I was the fastest dude on the team based off of 40 times and stuff like that. And so they all heard that I can run. And, people always say you can't teach speed. So when they find speed, they try to, okay, can we turn this into something that we can use? So I talked to them for a little bit, and then bam, knee tear. And that's when it all clicked in like, damn, this wasn't meant to happen. It is what it is at this point in life. So like I went to a depression. I ain't gonna lie, I was depressed at some point because
Yeah.
rehab, for anyone who's ever been through it, they know like going through rehab and stuff like that, it sucks because you want to be out there, you want to be competing at full force, but you just physically can't. And but once I got through that mental barrier, oh, shout out to Miss Lori, the head PT out there at Utah State. She helped me through because it was a tough 2 years of rehab and she stuck with me throughout the whole process. Didn't complain once, as much as I complained and bitched about it. She she helped me out for sure. Um, so big shout out to her. I hope she's doing well too up there still. But yeah, no, like I had potential for sure, apparently, but just wasn't meant to be. But I have no complaints about it at all. Like I mean, hell, I'm married, got a son, got another one on the way coming. Like life is still good for me. So never let those kind of things really make or break you in life for sure.
Got you. So finished up, Weber finished, got a degree, it sounds like, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So got your degree, finished, and then playing. So the transition from playing back to working. What was the transition from your last days playing? What was the next step that you took?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. When you play college sports for so long, once you get into the real world, you're like, damn, what am I gonna do? Like all I know is practice all day, every day, and game days, morning lifts, and go to class. Like, so I'm not gonna lie. It was different. It was rough for me at first because I was like, damn, I gotta get a job, I gotta work, I gotta find a career, I gotta start getting all this planned out real quick because once college is over, it's like, all right, you out in the real world, buddy. You gotta get it taken care of now. Um, I ain't gonna lie, it was hard though at first, like jumping from job to job and things like that, trying to find a stable living and everything like that. Um, Thankfully, my son is the best thing that had happened to me because it made me really grow up mentally for sure. Like, hey, I gotta get this, I gotta get it done because it ain't just you. Like, you got somebody you gotta take care of, dude. It's not like having a pet where you can kind of be half in on it. Like, no, like you got
Yeah.
another human being that you need to take care of and provide for. So thankfully for him, like, because if I didn't have him, I'm not gonna lie, I would have been messed up probably because I was in that mindset like, damn, I don't know what I want to do with life right now. Like, I was just stuck.
Yeah.
Um, no, but my son turned that all around for me because, like I said, he forced me to, all right, Liddell, you got to grow up, dude. Like, you got to get stuff done. You got to find out a way, no matter how you do it, you got to do it. Um, and it's worked good though, because now, I got a good job. Um, Hoping to get a teaching job here soon. That's what I got my degree in. That's the
Very
career I
cool.
want to
Very cool.
go in. Is secondary teaching in high school. So, I mean, it goes hand in hand since I coach high school sports anyway. So it works out perfect. But yeah, no, the transition was rough, but I'm happy I was able to fight through all that. It was a hard few years, but hey, just you keep fighting, bro, and you're gonna get it eventually. As long as you just keep working, and have your people around you, and have friends and family to help you out when you need it. That's why it's always good to keep those relationships, especially with old teammates and people who you think you'll never talk to again. You'd be surprised how they'll
Yeah,
come in and help you out when you least expect it.
very cool to hear. So your son too, were you still in college when you had your son, or was that at the end?
Yeah, so I had him. He was When was he born? He was born in 14, so I was a junior. It's about to be my junior year in school. He was not playing. Oh man, that boy was not playing. But it is what it is. And like I said, I'm grateful actually for it, for the fact that I even had him. But yeah,
Yeah.
that he was not playing. But he's a little shit. He's a little from how my wife describes it. He's a replica of me, and I'm like, damn, I can see because he talks back and he's so sarcastic all the time, and I'm like, all right, dude. Like the other day, I was like, man, you gonna fight one day because he's 9 now. He's 9. He's about to be 10 this year, and he's at that phase now where he thinks he can do anything and everything. Especially when it comes to me, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to. Me, you got to fight one time and let you know I'm still dad, dude. Like you're not that big yet, buddy.
I'm still the guy here. No, that's cool. I mean, you bring out a lot of things that I want to go back and touch on, so I'm jotting some of this down to make sure we get notes on it. But finished up college, graduated, got your degree, and so you went to the route of becoming high school coach, going back, teaching, being a high school coach. And so how many years have you coached now at the high school level?
Man, I started coaching 2017. So it's been what is that? 7, 8 years now. We're in
Okay, cool.
2024. Yeah, about seven, eight
Yeah,
years now. Yeah, I started up in Logan. I started my first coaching job at Mountain Crest High School. Coached the DBs there. It was a good year too. We went to state that year, lost in state to Orem. That's back though when they had Cooper Laga at QB and Puka Nakua at freaking receiver. So yeah, anybody was gonna lose to that team.
we,
Yeah,
we don't know those names. No
yeah.
one knows those names. Shout out to
Uh,
Puka.
so after a year there, I went to Logan because one of my teammates I played at Utah State with became the head coach there. And he asked me if I wanted to come on staff, so I spent the year there with him. Then the year after that, he went to the new school, Ridgeline, that had just opened up, and so I followed him there, and I stayed there for the past few years before I moved down here to West Haven and got on the coaching staff at Fremont back in 22 was my first year at Fremont High School.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm happy I got the opportunity to actually join that staff there that year because it was different going from a smaller school like Logan and Mountain Crest and Ridgeline to a bigger school like Fremont. Bunch of lot of interesting kids for sure at Fremont. I found that out the first day there. I was like, what the hell? All right, this how y'all do it down here. But uh, no, coaching has been good though for sure.
Yeah.
I've been on top of football. I've been coaching track also for a couple years. I became the head track coach this past year at the high school.
Nice. Nice.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit sucks. I was like, dang, like as much as bad as I wanted it, I'm like, boy, there's a lot that goes into a lot more than I expected.
Yeah.
Nah, but it's been good though. A lot of the parents are cool. They've been helpful and supportive, especially with the decisions I'm making, things like that for track. But football, I mean, yeah, football. It's been a ride for sure. I won a state title at Ridgeline before I came down to Fremont because we just had a good team that year. And shout out to those boys. I hope they have another good. They made it to the semis every year for the past 5 years now in
Yeah.
football. So I hope they're favored to win it this year because that senior class were just freshmen when I was there. So it's good to see them grow up and get things done for sure up there.
Very cool to see the whole story now from California to Vegas, up to Logan, Utah, now down to West Table. So some cool moments too from Utah State, not knowing Utah, still getting to play for Coach Hill. It's definitely a cool moment there to see as well. So I want to transition now, kind of seeing your whole path. You brought up a lot of things that I want to go back and get because I think you have a lot of cool things that you brought up here. And going back to your recruiting, you said something talking about your social media, and this is when social media, might I add, wasn't necessarily huge. I feel like it was still a time when social media was like a new, but looking back at it, what advice would you give as far as your social media goes, your usage? I mean, now you're a coach, you're working with high school athletes, even the same kids that are going to be recruited based on your social media. What kind of advice would you give kids for their social media usage?
Uh, Man, the advice I would give them is just be smart. You really have to be smart with the social media stuff, especially now since it's way bigger, much more looked upon now. I mean, heck, even recruiting is all done through social media now. It's not no more. Oh, you got to send your film in and email your film to all these coaches, and then they watch it and email you back or write you a letter back. You just post something now on Twitter, and everybody just tag whatever coach you want. And bam, they got your film, and it's crazy. I wish it was like that easy for me. Um, no, but you really got to be smart because like they for the little things that you think they wouldn't look at, even in years prior, they will look at really heavily because they want to see the real you. They don't want to see the, oh, we're face to face, so we're gonna put on a persona because I want to show my best impression. Like, no, they want to see what you're like behind closed doors, and that's what a lot of social media is. It's a lot of stuff that you will only say behind closed doors because obviously your face isn't in it for the most part. Yeah, you can make up a name, but yeah, you just have to be smart on the things that you say and post, and not even just words, even like photos and stuff like that. Like I had a teammate. Um, was it was my junior year in high school? No, my sophomore year. His name was Telvin. Posted pictures of him holding up his flag and his gun with a bunch of buddies and stuff back on Facebook as a profile pic and things like that. Recruitment went to complete shit because of it. He was one of the
Yeah.
best running backs in the state of Nevada, but then all his offers went away because they pulled up that old picture of him and they were like, I don't know if we want this kind of kid at our program. He went
Sure.
from I think like yeah like 16 offers from both Power Five and Big Five or the Small Five schools, and I think he ended up with like one or two, and they were both at like Naval Academy schools, but yeah, just you guys gotta be wary on what you do because they will go back and pull up old dirt if they want to see what kind of
Yeah.
person you are. So just be smart, be humble, all that stuff. Don't let any little decision like that ruin the next few years of your future. It's the best advice I can give people.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice. And definitely, you'd be surprised being behind those doors and seeing the recruiting firsthand myself. You'd be surprised at all the stuff that they do look at, to your point. And I know you talked about in Cali that you were grateful for sports because there wasn't a lot of good things to be doing there in that area. And so if you weren't in sports, like you could really be getting into a lot of bad things. So as far as that goes, do you really feel like sports did in the long run help kind of save your life in that aspect of not doing any of those things down there in Vegas and Cali?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Like even I know my mom still would have been hard on us even if we weren't on sports to keep us away from that stuff. I mean, because I mean, you know, how she grew up with it too. I mean, half my uncles and cousins gangbang somewhere out there,
Yeah.
like, and they are actually those ones are the biggest supporters. The ones who are doing it
Yeah.
and who see that you have the potential to get out and not be a part of it and get out and do something good with yourselves, they
Yeah.
are the ones that force you to also to keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's not always this whole thing like where some people might think, oh, they try to get the youth to join the gangs and things like that because they try to convince them. Like, no, it's actually the opposite. Like, obviously, if the youth want to be in that, if they want to be in that lifestyle, those men aren't their parents. They're not going to tell them no. Like, if this is what you want to do, they'll let them know, all right, this is how it is. So if this is what you really want to do. But at the same time, there are certain individuals where they're like, dude, you got way too much ahead of you. You got way too much potential in your life. Nah, you can't do you can't hang out with us. Like as a kid, you might think like, dang, they just not like me. Am I just like am I a punk to them or something? But as you get older, you start to realize like, damn, they were really protecting me out there. Like there was a lot of my uncles would tell me straight up like, nah, you can't go hang out with us today. We gotta go do something else. I'm like, okay, but why? We usually hang out. They're like, nah, today you can't hang out. You gotta stay at grandma's house today. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I look back upon it like, dang, like the things that they were doing, like, yeah, I didn't want no part of that. And so, yeah, no, it for sure stirred me in the straight path. And yeah, like it was really needed. Like I have cousins that I played youth ball with to this day who are out there banging and stuff like that right now, and they they don't like the lifestyle, but when you grow up in that environment, it kind of just molds on you, especially when you don't get out of it. Like it's just like this: you wake up every day, did you see the same thing every day? This is just what you're used to. So to you, to them, that's just everyday life. They don't know anything outside of that because they never really been in anywhere outside of that lifestyle. Um, that's another reason why my mom moved us from San Bernardino to Vegas. I mean, Vegas wasn't much better, but it was a lot better than where we currently were in that situation in that time frame. And it worked out better for us that way. But yeah, no, it was for sure. Sports is like I said, like even the guys who are in it, especially the older guys, they know great potential in their kids and in their community when they see it, and they make sure that they steer those kids out in the wrong in the right direction also. So that's just something a lot of people don't really understand or realize. Like it's not just always about them trying to recruit kids. Like no, most of them are actually trying to keep kids from doing that kind of stuff because they know like, hey, you got too much ahead of you. Like you don't want to be in, you can't be with us. But you get those kids who just don't want to listen and think that they can do whatever they want and they end up doing it anyway. It's the sad part about it all.
Being to this point, being a minority, did you feel added pressure that you had to be good at sports in a sense, and that was your only way out?
I did. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't the best when it came to like academics and things because I always told myself like if I go to college, it's gonna be through a scholarship. Like I got to get a scholarship for sports to go to college. I can't. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get one academically, which I could have, but when they already told me that myself that at such a young age, obviously, I didn't use all my full potential in the classroom as much as I did in the on the field or on the track. Um, yeah, no. So, damn. Oh, what was the question again? I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. I'm just saying, so as a minority, did you feel just that added pressure
Oh,
that you
the
had
added
to
pressure.
be?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Especially in Logan. Like
yeah,
it was different. Like even in Vegas, like you know, they see you see a black athlete and you automatically assume, oh, he needs to be he got to be good, or he got to
yeah.
be fast, or he got to be athletic. Like it's not that all the time. Like I mean, hell, you see me at a pickup game, you probably think, oh, let me pick him. I'd be the first person to tell you in the pickup basketball game, nah, you ain't gonna pick me. Nah, don't pick me, buddy. I ain't that good. You better pick the dude next to me. That ain't me.
Uh,
Uh, Nah, but even in Logan, like you actually can feel that pressure. Like I know they don't mean to put it on you as a fan base, but it's gonna be there regardless because just of the stereotype for sure. And I mean the fact that you're there in Logan, like people automatically assume if you're a young black man in Logan, they think you're an athlete at the school and not just the student. They automatically assume, oh, because there so many times I've been approached. I was approached like, oh, what sport do you play? Like, dang, you just assume I play a sport? Like, what if I just went to school to go to school? But then I was like,
Yeah,
I play football. But
yeah,
that's just how it is though. Like, especially because Logan's like a bubble. Like that's my wife's from Logan, and that's how she describes it. It's just a bubble. It's like isolated from everyone else. So people who don't ever leave it never really understand or experience the different like diversities and stuff like that about like the state or like just in general. But
mm,
yeah, for sure, being a minority up there was a little added pressure. And like I said previously, that's when Coach Anderson would come and help us out, like all the minority kids. Like, hey, this is how it's gonna be. This is how you gotta handle it. So he helped us out a ton by coaching us through how to handle being a minority in a place like that for sure.
I get you, and it definitely is that. It's not that it's right. I mean, to your point, you said you just kind of dealt with it, but it's not that it's right. It's the unintended views and thoughts of individuals, especially in Logan, that they don't know anything better because that's how they grew up. But it's a lack of education, to that point. Like, why can't you just be walking around on campus and no one's making the assumption like, oh, that guy's an athlete,
Yeah,
like he has to be so good at all these different things, and that is the lack. And I think anyone that doesn't know Logan's an hour, drive from the airport or more, depending on weather and certain things getting through Sardine. But to get up to Logan, and it is isolated. There's not like, just local access to everything because you are going through the canyons and just like a little valley, hence Cache Valley.
yep,
But I mean, I just want to talk on that because, I get it. I can't relate to your experiences to a lot of my teammates, athletes, whatnot, because I'm a white male in America. Like I don't have those same experiences, and I don't see through the same lenses that, you get to see through the things that you grew up with. But how did you? I mean, I know you said Coach Anderson was good to help with those things, but how did you really manage that? And as far as the added pressures of being a minority in Logan, Utah, which there isn't a lot of diversity. To your point, if you're not up on campus in the athletic department, there's not going to be a lot of diversity around you. It's just going to be a bunch of white folk walking around. So how do you handle that? And to other young athletes going through the same thing, like what would you say to them? How did you find connections? Just some some
yeah.
some of your thoughts on that.
Man, just you learn how to handle it at a young age. When you grow up black and stuff like that. Like your parents teach you at a young age, like how to persona yourself out in public and how to act in public to make sure you're not acting out or standing out. Um, because you never want to keep a bad rap for like our people. Like you don't want people to assume, oh, he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that, based off of what they see on like media and stuff. Like you'd be surprised how many times I've been told like, oh wow, like you're very well mannered. I mean, in the back of my mind, I'm like, really, dude? All right.
Yeah.
But realistically, I'm like, I really, because like we grew up with like I grew up with thick skin in my family. Like you had to grow up with thick skin between the family picking on you to just the racial stuff and all that. Like you had to learn how to grow up and just be like, yeah, whatever, just like brush that shit off. Like I don't care. And that's where a lot of it. That's how I handled a lot of it, just from years of experience at a young age, from growing
Yeah.
up and being taught what to do and how to handle it. Um, yeah, like I mean, hell, there were times where me and some teammates we had some racial incidents happen in Logan, but I mean, like I said, when you're trained how to handle it for so many years, you don't let it get to you. So we were
Yeah.
able to, like, just brush it off, whatever. It is what it is. Like, there's going to be people like that everywhere. And
Yeah.
obviously, not saying everyone is like that, because I made so many connections in Logan, more than I thought I ever would, with the people up there. And to this day, I'm still making more. Like, I love Logan. I love that town.
Yeah.
Like, and with all my heart, I loved it. Um, but yeah, there's always just gonna be that select few people, just like with our people. It's gonna be that select few that just make us look like idiots. It's like, dude, just like, this is why people look at us a certain way, and vice
Yeah.
versa. It's like that with any race. Like, this is why people look at people a certain way. Like, it's just, um, that's just how it is. But nah, yeah, I got me and a lot of teammates got through it. Like, one, we always hung out together for sure, because you never know what can happen. Like, we always made sure, like, we always had someone with a teammate, black, white, mixed, Hispanic, didn't matter. We never went anywhere alone, really,
Yeah.
because like Coach Anderson always said, just, it's never a bad thing to be cautious, because you can always there'll always be that one idiot that does something, like, gets drunk and just decides to go on a rampage for whatever reason. So he always made sure, like, we were always protected by one another. So that also helped us out a lot when dealing with a lot of things. And but yeah, no, from being taught at an early age all the way through growing up helped a lot on how to handle those kind of situations and things like that. And honestly, I have no ill will towards anyone or anything that I experienced in my years up there. Like,
Yeah.
it's life. People go through it. Like, I'm happy I did get to, honestly, I'm personally happy I got to experience some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So when I teach my sons or daughters, as they're getting older, how they can experience, because I physically and mentally went through it myself. I'm not just going through it trying to explain it based off of what happened to someone else.
Yeah.
And so it was, to me, it was good. It was a good experience in life in general for me to go through.
Yeah. No, and I mean, that's great to see that you had a positive view on it, because I would say not everybody's going to have a positive view on different experiences, obviously, in life, but especially something that hits home as much as, racial inequality and different things that can go that way. And I know I was doing some research on disproportionate disciplinary actions against students of color in schools, and how they might be suspended more frequently for actions that aren't just that a white kid might not be suspended for. And it made me look at it a little bit more, especially, myself being around kids and coaching, you yourself going into education. It's just, what can we do to help better the understanding, the narratives, the conversations to be had around that aspect as well. So I love hearing that you took a positive spin on it, that you can learn from it and pass it on. Hopefully, other people listening can kind of hone in on some of your experiences. The last thing I really want to hit on, as far as your experiences, because I know this is definitely can be a dark, traumatic spot, is your injury. And you're a guy that fastest dude on the team. Like, anyone that's an athlete knows, to your point, you can't teach speed. When you have that guy that's fast, that girl that's fast, man, you're jealous to a point. If you're not, you're like, man, I want to have that speed. Like, you were the dude. You had all this potential. I mean, we're building it up. You're top recruit, coming out of Nevada, going up to Logan, Utah. They're pumped. They got a steal. And all of a sudden, freak injury. I mean, we're not even talking in the game. It's just a freak injury.
Mm-hmm.
And it can just blow you up. So how did you manage that? Like, what was those feelings, those things that, I mean, you were feeling, that we can kind of talk about to help other people that are going through the same things?
It was hard. It was hard. I was hurt for sure. Like, I still remember to this day everything, like, from getting carried off the field into the cart, them putting me on the trainer's table, all my teammates walking in from practice one by one, patting me on the leg, telling me get better, things like that. Just laying there with the towel on my head, and I cried. I cried for about half an hour, because I was like, I've never in my life thought I would experience an injury like that, ever. And like you said, it was a freak one. Like, all I did was step funny, and that was it. Didn't get hit or anything. Just one wrong step. Um, it was dark. Like I said, I got depressed. Rehab was hard. I mean, hell, first of all, has anybody, if you ever tried to walk on crutches in the snow, that's just terrible. Like, first of all, I'm already not used to the snow growing up in Vegas. And here I am trying to walk on crutches through campus in the snow and not try to slip on ice and things like that. Um, but no, to me, the hardest part was the rehab because as much rehab as I was doing, I just felt like I wasn't getting any better. Like I felt like I was just stuck in the same spot, no matter what we did and how we did it and how long we did it for. I was just stuck. And once I got to that mindset, I was just like, well, what's the point? Like, why am I even doing this? Why am I even trying anymore? Like, there's no point of keep going if I know I'm not going to play anymore. Like, that was the mindset I was in. But then again, shout out Miss Lori. She rehabbed me for 2 years. And for people who don't know, most ACL injuries you usually recover within 9 months. Mine took 2 years to recover because of the way it was the scar tissue and stuff in my knee was trying to heal so fast and just lock my joints together and things like that. But Miss Lori not one didn't complain. I was like there were days I can tell obviously she was frustrated because she wanted me to get better and get back on the field as well. She wanted to see the progress as much as I did, but she kept it so professional and even though I can tell she was frustrated, she still tried to put on a positive face to keep me positive because she knew I was depressed about it and just disappointed with everything. Um, but the best advice I can give to anyone is you just gotta, even though you're gonna get to that point where you're gonna mentally check out, you gotta just keep going through it. Like no matter what, like especially when you got your teammates and your medical staff supporting you the way that I had, like you just have to keep doing it because to this day I can still be walking around with a slightly bent leg, but she pushed me to her biggest thing was when you get older, you're gonna want your leg better for when you play with your kids and things like that. You don't want to be walking on a limp, trying to run around with kids and being a fun dad. And because I never thought about it that way, I'm only thinking about shit. I want to get back on the field. I wasn't thinking about
Yeah.
life after football with my leg and stuff like that until she talked to me about it one day, and I was like, damn, I really didn't think about it that way at all. Like, what would my leg be like 10, 15, 20 years from now if I didn't keep pushing on through that tough rehab session I had for those 2 years? Like, it could be completely different. Like, but yeah, that's my best advice is um, you gotta just fight it no matter what. Like, it's gonna suck. I'm gonna be blunt. I'm a very blunt person. I'm honest. It's gonna suck, like bad, and you're gonna get to that point where you're just gonna want to quit. But you gotta physically and mentally tell yourself, like, not just a few more months, just a few more months. That's all I got left, and just keep counting down from there. And you'd be surprised how fast it goes by, and how much better you'll start to get, and how much better you'll start to feel.
No, no, and I think you bring up your trainer over there and helping you through all that. And I think that's huge to have someone supporting you through the process because you're still on the team, but you're not doing everything with the team. I mean, you're doing your own rehab, and that's hard. That's hard enough to see, your teammates out there playing, you want to have them have success, but at the same time, you came there to help them with that success. You came there to play a role and do your part as well, and not having that makes it hard. And I think nowadays, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but did you have a mental health coach or anything up there at that time helping you with any of this?
No, we didn't actually. That didn't come until I think they got a mental health coach a couple years ago up
Yeah.
there at Utah State. But yeah, we didn't have one. So a lot of that stuff was my position coach, like always coming to check on me and talk to me on how I've been doing. And I mean, hell, even Coach Anderson, the head coach, like that would they were the mental coaches of the team during those years. So again, big shout out to them, to Coach Shaver and Coach Anderson for mentally helping me through that for sure. Because yeah, it was like I said, it was rough, and they helped me more than I can explain.
No, and I think it's cool to see that you had a good staff because I'd say there definitely met other coaches that wouldn't be that involved, that wouldn't be going and checking on an injured athlete because, they're injured. They're just going to work with the medical team when they're good, when they're right. They'll come back, and that's when I'll start coaching them again. So
Mm-hmm.
it's cool to see that you had that. And it is cool to see, I think a lot of people looking at anxiety is what they think. Oh, all these athletes have anxiety, so they have to coach them. But it's not just that. It's to your point, man. It gets dark when you're injured and you're not there. Like having someone to help you push through those things. To your point, like you just want to give up. Like you want to be like, this is this worth it anymore? Talking about real life though, like being a dad later on. Like you want to play with your kids. At this point, you now have a kid, one more on the way. Can you imagine if you weren't able to, run out there and do things with them? Like that's a hard aspect because you look back and you quit in your rehab back in your college days because it would have been the easier thing to do.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so that's cool to see. Well, Adele, I appreciate all the stuff you've given us today, having the open, being transparent with us on the conversation. And I want to turn the floor to you. Do you have any events, charities, any personal shout outs that you want to give or anything additional that you want to give to any young athletes out there?
Shout out to all my family out there, back in California and Vegas. Little brother out in Colorado. Y'all, got me to where I am to this day. Especially little brother, we always competed, way to push me through things. I'm actually going out there this weekend. He's for his bachelor party. He's getting married soon, so I'll be
Hey,
seeing
shout
him.
out.
Um, and no, just shout out to all the staff and friends and stuff that helped me throughout all those years to get me to where I am now. Even the wife right now who's been supporting me through my coaching career and stuff like that. And to all the young athletes, like I said, hey man, just be humble. Biggest thing. Be humble, do you, and all your blessings will come to you. You ain't gotta force it. Just let it come to you. Once you force it, that's when they start to pull away. So don't force anything, and you're gonna get to where you need to be at. Let God take that over. You guys will be good.
Sweet. So listen to Liddell, some actionable advice there. Be humble, listen to your coaches, be coachable. And, but until then, appreciate everybody listening. Catch any of the old episodes on Sojo, on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And remember, hashtag the Sojo.
Hey.